Did I do that?
Did I do that? That's a good way to start the Professionals and Animal Lovers show this week. That's like a Steve Urkel. Did I do that? I remember that, Val, from Steve Urkel.
One of these days, I am gonna get this right.
What are you trying to get right? What are we working on? What's going on?
Tommy, you're showing your age about Steve Urkel.
You know what, Dennis? I used to love Friday nights, TGIF, the Friday night sitcom.
That's right.
I used to have,
yep.
Right? Steve Urkel, Carl Winslow, you know, and Steve Urkel would come at, "Did I do that?" I used to love that show. Anyway, this is not that show. This is the Professionals. It seems like we're professionals. I don't know. The Professionals and Animal Lovers show, all about animal advocacy, all about changing the world, no matter where we are on this planet. It is our mission to do what we can for the voiceless, for the animals, for those who can't do what they need to do to defend themselves. Well, then we're here to do it. We're changing the world. That's all I got to say about that. I mean, listen, we know that the people who are supportive of the animals want to be supportive of each other in this work, in this community. And, you know, when they're business people, if you're out there shopping for a service, if you're looking for a vendor, I like the word solution provider. If you're shopping for something you need to buy, isn't it great that we are vetting out this community of people, business people and professionals for you? We know that the people who care about the animals want to connect, want to learn from each other. And that's what we do on this show. Valerie, you really brought me into this world, this animal advocacy world. Other people brought me into the real world, but you brought me into the animal advocacy world. And I'm constantly learning from you and learning from others. I will say, I do have a shout out. We'll talk about maybe John DeLeonardo, who I went out on location earlier this week, or I think it was last week. It's a new week already. It was about this time. It's Valentine's Day, in fact, so just about a week ago. So Val, I know you have some updates, but let's talk about it. Let's talk about some vision. I actually started on the drive where I was going today. I started listening to an autobiography by Gandhi, which I was like, if we're going to end this show with a quote, I should know more about Gandhi. So I'm about 18 minutes because I listened to it on Audible. So let's get into it.
I need to get Audible back because I find myself, in spite of great efforts, reading less, which I like to read books instead of just like headlines and a couple of paragraphs in an article. But anyway, yeah. So listen, first of all, I thank you also because the animals thank you for getting involved. My partner and co-host Tommy DeMisa he's doing so many great things for the animals. And look, great things happen when you bring animal lovers together. So I have some examples. I'm super excited. I have to share this. So first of all, I had like a pretty good day referral wise. I judge my days based on how many referrals I can give out, like really good, qualified, not just like, oh, hey, I know you do signs. I just drove by a store that's opening. Maybe you can walk in there and strike up a conversation. Like that to me is not a referral. You know what I mean? But anyway, we're bringing great people together from all walks of life. And amazing things are happening because we all are like-minded in that we care about the animals. So on Friday, I gave a referral to a CPA for a bookkeeper. He was looking for a bookkeeper, like a QuickBooks person, the bane of our existence in this household. I also gave the same CPA a referral for a payroll company, and 2 referrals to one personal injury lawyer. And they're all animal lovers, including the people who I referred. So like the person who got hurt, you know, whatever, he's an animal lover. And the lawyer is a huge animal lover. And in fact, was one of our sponsors at the Compassion Awards. But why am I saying this? Because amazing things, we can really make a difference, not only in each other's lives and help each other succeed if we look for like-minded people who are compassionate. But then what happens? Like, I want compassionate people to be really successful because they're going to parlay their success. They're going to donate more to rescues. Maybe they'll have more time to volunteer. Maybe they'll start their own rescue. You know, whatever it is, we are changing the world. And I have to say one last thing. I just have to. A few months ago, Tommy will probably remember this. We had on our guest owner of the Canine Shop, Rob Tucker.
Yes.
And I had mentioned back then that I knew of a single gentleman who was interested in dating, and he's an animal lover. So guess who just set up him with a very good friend who's also an animal lover over the weekend? That would be me. Whoop, whoop.
Nice.
Okay,
Wait. Don't we need to clarify. You didn't set Rob Tucker up with this. Rob Tucker is married to his wife Anya, right?
No.
Let's just because again, if that's the first time you're hearing it, you don't know all the players on the board.
I may not, I was going quickly. I may not have
Good
described that
point,
perfectly.
Tommy.
Yes, but I'm just saying, like, you know what? I really, really believe that like-minded, like-hearted people can change the world. And I mean, how awesome is it knowing that if you're going to go out to a restaurant or, oh, I have a haircut appointment tomorrow, clearly needed, very much. So I can't even really see right now. But anyway, you know, I chose this hair salon because yes, they got great reviews, Google, whatever. But also when you go to their page, like the before and after pictures of hair are like a standard thing. You know what's not standard? All of the animals that they're constantly promoting for adoption, and they're involved with like a local cat rescue. So they're involved with supporting TNR. And I mean, that's it. That's how I chose my hair cutter. And imagine if we all did stuff like that. Wow.
Well, my sister-in-law went to Greece on vacation and adopted 2 cats in Greece, brought them back to New York.
Aww.
And she has just recently adopted another cat that was stranded in New York City. And she's just a super good person that has great vibes. And she teaches belly dancing.
Wow, I want to hang with her. See, now I would take a belly dancing class just because of what she's doing for the animals.
But she's just, and she's taught me how to be sensitive because I grew up in the station, a tough area with 3 brothers. And she taught me how to be sensitive to the animals, as well as my wife, who's my partner,
Wow.
who bred and showed English Springer Spaniels.
So we should really have your sister on the show. We should have had.
Yes.
No, I'm only kidding. All right. So actually, so we need to. Tommy's going to tell the world exactly who we're talking to. So take it away, Tommy D.
Well, I'll tell you, Dennis. I mean, I want you to share your story. Tell us about yourself. I mean, you are a Long Island guy.
Yes.
I'm a Long Island guy. I'm not currently on the island that is long right now. I took a road trip today, but I will just say, you mentioned the station, and is it Huntington Station when you say that?
Huntington Station, yes.
So I will tell you this. Shout out to my father, who loves it when I call him my old man. So he doesn't love it at all. So I'll say it. So shout out to my old man who owns Ralph's Italian Ices on New York Avenue in Huntington, right next to the Paramount. And I've been known. Right. I was going to say I've been known from time to time. I've been known on a weekly basis in the spring and summer to donate my father's Italian ices to nonprofits here on Long Island. Nice. Actually, they're on Long Island because I'm not home. But so tell us, your journey. I was looking at the website. I think I will not be around for the Long Island show. I think I will be out of town that weekend, but I'm trying to figure out if I can finagle a few things. So can you tell us about your background and how you got involved with the work you're doing with the show, with the family shows and really with the family pet shows and things like that?
I'm a businessman, and I started my own business in 1976, different types of businesses. We used to produce horse magazines for the horse show world. And then in 94, we started a horse expo in Pennsylvania, Fort Washington, Pennsylvania. And then in 96, we realized most horse people had other pets. So we changed our name from the Horse Expo to Horse and Pet Expo. And then as time went on, we focused on pet expos. And in 2003, we started our pet expo at the Nassau Coliseum, and it became too expensive. Parking was expensive, everything was expensive. So we moved to Hofstra for a year, but that was too small. And then in 2007, we moved to Suffolk Community College, where we've been since. And it's a great family show, as we talk about that, and people who love pets. By 2010, we were able to allow people to bring their own pets.
Oh my God!
We'll have almost 1,000 to 1,200 pets come to the show with their parents, and we know that number because they have to fill out a waiver form. So what's cool about Karen, my wife, puts on an excellent show program, which includes everything from dog obedience to rainforest reptile shows to rabbit hopping to a whole bunch of items that she has going on.
The dancing dogs are part of that show too.
Dancing
right?
dogs. We have it's a great dog program.
Yeah.
But the coolest thing is when people come with their pets, it's sort of like they're showing off their children, and that's what they are. And we also offer free space to rescues, although lately that's been tough. The rescues don't have the volunteers to spend the weekend at a show. And we offer them free space, but
Yeah.
you know, it's tough. So that's probably, since COVID, been our biggest struggle. Prior to COVID, we would have 10, 15 different rescues there.
You know, it's interesting because I did reach out to the rescue. The director, Regina Mendoza, was one of our recipients for the Compassion Awards. And she did say, you know, maybe if it was one day or something, it would be different, but 2 days, it's kind of tough to commit to that. Plus it's a long day.
Yes.
For the dogs, you know.
Well, we also work with them too. If they can only do
Yeah.
one day, they can only do one day, but they're having a problem with just
Staff.
the volunteers. So
Yeah.
we'll wait to 2023. Looks like we're back. We just finished the show in Allentown, Pennsylvania, and was almost back to 2019 level.
Good.
Really?
We're expecting 2023 to be strong for the next 2 shows we do, and we're excited. And the best part about it is when the kids come with their parents and they see all these animals, they just light up.
Do you have on-site adoptions going on?
That's up to the rescue.
Okay, right.
Okay,
right.
so some
Right.
rescues will do it on site. Some rescues will not. And sometimes if someone's interested in a particular animal to adopt, they'll want to go home and bring back if they have another dog or cat or whatever, to see if they're compatible.
Yeah.
So we work
Definitely.
with the rescues. We're allowed to do on site, but that's really up to the rescue. Some of them, when we had off the Animal Rescue Fund of the Hamptons, they were set up to actually adopt on site. But we leave it up to them.
Have you had any incidents at all? I mean, one of the things I'm always concerned about other people's dogs. You know what I mean? My dog.
We have plenty. Everybody has to sign a waiver form, which shows that they're responsible. And if there's a dog that's not comfortable, it's particularly dogs, obviously.
Right.
If there's a dog that's not comfortable, you know, we have them take a break in the lobby before we let them in. And most people know.
Yeah, the temperament. Right.
Yeah, and we have a poop scooper at the show called
Look,
Poop
I
Away.
gotta interrupt, Dennis. That's all I'm sitting here thinking about, and not because I'm going like, here's the thing. So he just said, everybody, if you're not listening, he goes, "We got a poop scooper." You just brought 1,000 or 1,200 dogs.
Yes.
Now it's one thing to bring 1,000 or 1,200 people into a room. Let's be honest. You know, for the most part, people can, you know, do what they got to do, clean up after yourself. But then, like, now that's a bunch of poop we're dealing with, and I don't want to spend the next half hour talking about poop, honestly. But I'm just thinking, like, this is not a joke. Like, we got to be
It's
very
not bad.
vigilant,
I mean,
right?
Well, in the last 4 or 5 years, most people are responsible. They bring their own poop. We all give everybody free poop bags and sprays. And we do have a poop scooper at the show that walks around in case someone. But you'd be surprised. I would say almost 90% of the people are very responsible, have their bags and clean up, and then we go around with a mop, and that's my job at the show. I take the mop, walk around, and clean the floor.
But also, I'd have to imagine that, like, you know your dog's routine, right? So my dog goes out 4 to 5 times a day. So if I'm going to a show, I'm going to make sure he goes right before we walk in, right?
And that's.
I mean, there's exceptions, of course. Like, I've seen it where some dogs poop when they get really excited.
That's what happens.
Yeah.
Or they lift their leg.
There's all these butts to sniff, and they're just like, whoops.
And the males walk around, and they have to, you know, set their territory. But we have it down.
Oh,
we have it down pretty good. And then we have spray. You know, we have certain sprays that we. you know, then this way the dogs won't, but it's because of the poop guy on
Yeah.
that.
The
It
poopy
makes our
squeaky
job
guy,
easier
yeah.
because we can handle it like an emergency as opposed to
Uh-huh.
doing the whole show. Because
I
we
love this.
have to-
I'm picturing like on the PA announcement, it's like clean up aisle 4, right?
Yes, well, we give everyone, and Karen, myself, and my son Joe we're all partners. We walk around all the time as well, so we'll see, and we give everyone, every vendor gets a card with the booth number and the phone number of the poop guy.
Nice. So, all right, let me switch gears away from the poop. Let me ask you, because this
Please.
is super exciting. Yeah, I know. It's right around dinner time too. Give us a taste, like what are some of the vendors and sponsors and all of that you're, besides the ones that we mentioned already, like the ones that are going to be some kind of a performance, what else you got going on? What are we expecting to find?
Our vendors vary from someone who's selling scarves and leashes for dogs
Mhm.
to window companies that support responsible pet ownership. We'll have almost 100 vendors at the show, and they'll vary. I mean, it's everything from veterinarians to pet sitters. You know, I think it pretty much covers the whole gamut of the pet industry. And you talked about Robert from Canine.
Yeah.
You know, he's there. Maximum Canine is there with their booth. We have dog trainers. We also have a full cat show, which is a Tika cat show, which is a competition, and they have cat vendors in their area.
Wait
So-
a minute.
Yeah.
So this cat
Not
show,
just dogs. Yeah.
so is this, I mean, I'm
The
just
inter-
kind of probably projecting my own cat's behaviors, which they
Yeah.
would not fare well in any kind of an exhibit scenario, but
No.
are these cats, these are like,
Show
do
cats.
they do tricks? Oh.
No. These are
cats.
show cats. They actually set up 4 rings and they judge them and they win ribbons and they go towards their
Really?
championship.
Just
So
like
these-
for the dog
Westminster.
show.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly, but it's a
Oh,
cat show.
wow. Oh, wow.
Wow, Val, so since Valerie and I, Dennis, have this issue where like there's like classic movies that my friend and partner here has not seen, you know, there is one which is far from being a classic movie, although it's probably one of those cult classics called Dog Show. Right?
Yeah,
That's
I love that show. I love that one.
I
So
saw
funny, right?
that, I think.
You saw that one.
Is that the one with the guy who had 2 left feet?
Yes.
Val, you watched it after we talked
Yeah,
about it.
I saw that.
I know.
Yeah.
I was giving you an atta girl because that's like the one movie that we've talked about that you hadn't seen that you did watch. So that was like there was a compliment on its way. So I Googled this. The International Cat Association is the world's largest genetic registry of pedigree and domestic cats.
Exactly.
Who knew? Not me.
So wait a second, but so I'm just so like, again, I'm projecting my own, you know, cats and their issues, but like these cats are taken out of, I guess, their carriers, whatever, and they're put on a table or something, and judges are like checking out their teeth and their tail and all of that.
Exactly. And
Get out of here.
that's right. And it's
No
really
way.
interesting because I mean, when we first saw it, I thought, you know, it's the people come, they set up in their area, the cat's in their cage, and or their whatever you want to call it. And then the judge, they call out this particular breed or
Oh my
entry.
God. I have
And
to
they'll
see
bring
this.
their cat up.
I
and
have
they
to
put
see
it in
this.
a little enclosure behind the judge, and the judge will take the cat out, judge the
Judge
cat.
will reach in, and I'm assuming these cats have never met the judges before. The judge would reach in and pull out the cat. See, this is just unrelatable to me because my cats would not be having this at all.
Well, they're not show cats.
That is true.
That's right.
Yeah, but
I've never heard of
is
it.
it? We got to see this. We got to see this.
Yeah.
If we're, I got to find a way to make it out there that weekend. But are they being led around like just like at the AKC?
No. They judge them on confirmation.
Oh, okay. So
it's not like
body
cat
wrap,
agility.
right, okay.
There is something called cat agility. We just don't have the
Ooh.
space for it.
All
But
right.
these
Is
are
that like, I just saw this on America's Got Talent. There was some kind of pilot reel going on. There were these incredible cats. Tommy, I know you are allergic. You would make the exception to watch the show. they have these really well-trained Himalayan
Yes.
cats.
I'll take some Claritin before I watch the show.
Yeah,
Although I
have this
don't believe
one
I need
cat-
to if it's on television. I don't think I need to take Claritin.
No, you
regularly.
don't need to, Tom.
they have this one cat. It looks like a set of
Sphinx.
it has this parallel bars kind of,
Mhm.
and they look like there's like rope or twine wrapped around it so that it's very easy to catch onto. Anyway, they have this one cat who goes, he or she climbs across the bar upside down.
Yep.
I'm not even kidding. I was
Yeah.
so blown away. But
So
you know
this
what I
is
love about
not-
this? You know what
It-
Dennis, can I just tell you what I love so much about this is the fact that you have figured out a way to offer these great experiences and everything and make a good living in this industry. Like,
That's right.
I mean, I'm not counting your money, but what I'm saying is that, you
Yes.
know, there are so many animal lovers out there. And it's sad to me, like, it reminds me of this woman I used to work with, young girl at the time. And she was in banking, I was on the investment side. And she really hated her job, but she felt trapped, you know, it's like, where am I gonna go? What am I gonna do? She had benefits, she had a 401k, right? And I remember asking her, I said, well, what would you do if you could start all over again? What would you do? And she was like, probably something with animals. But people don't know all the choices that are out there. You know what I mean? Like, a lot of times people, when they're young or at college age or whatever, they think, all right, you either have to become a veterinarian or a dog trainer, you know, and they kind of think of the typical, more popular vocations. But look at this. This is like, I'd imagine this is quite a bit of fun.
It is. And
Yeah.
also, we also have pet artists that have a booth,
Good.
pet photographers. They're making a living off of taking pictures of pets.
I could do
Yeah.
that. I feel like I would be a good pet photographer.
We have dog treat companies, and we have quite a few crafters that come that make special items that you wouldn't find in a pet store. So
Right.
it's more of a we call ourselves family pet shows,
Mhm.
and our vendors are our family, and they all work with each other and help each other, and it's a fun weekend. And you're right, I really enjoy doing it. You know, as someone who was not like my wife, who's a breeder of dogs and understands them, and she was a trainer and she showed. I was more of a street guy, and now I've learned how cool this is. But my
Yeah.
favorite part of the kids, when a
Of
kid
course.
comes in and sees these animals, they just like light up.
Yeah.
All right,
That's
I
my
gotta get
favorite
kid-
part.
I gotta figure out how to get to one of these events, and let's talk about the event. So Long Island Pet Expo, March 4th and 5th, 2023, Suffolk Federal Credit Union Arena at Suffolk Community College.
Yeah.
Go to the website, familypetshows.com. The Greater Philly event comes up a week or so later, right? The 10th through
Next
the 12th.
weekend, right? The
Right,
weekend
next
next,
weekend in Philadelphia. It looks
Oaks.
like there's going to be the Long Island Pet Expo later in the year out in Copeg, right?
Yes, that's the
Yeah.
free. That's a free one. That's outdoors, and that's a lot of fun. Right on
Yeah.
the Great South Bay.
So, and
So
that's
wait a minute,
outside. so in
where
the
is that
park, yeah.
located? I was just in Copeg a couple of weeks ago. I was staying there.
It's at the Tanner Park.
Oh, it's in the park. So what
and
happens
we-
if it rains?
Well, so far we've been lucky. If it rains,
Okay.
it rains.
Knock on wood, knock on
No,
wood. Okay.
Last year, our Philadelphia show we had snow on Saturday, and people still came.
Sure they did.
I'd
They're
imagine if it
committed.
rains, it makes the job of the poopy scooper guy a little easier.
Yeah, that's right.
Hey, listen, as you're talking, I'm obviously searching things around because I got to bring back the knowledge right away. But I don't know if this is the cats you're talking about. The Savitsky cats, they're showing them on the one with
American Got Talent, yeah.
America's Got Talent. Yeah. So the Savitsky cats,
Yeah.
SAVITSKY cats, and they're
Ugh,
doing all sorts of tricks.
they're
I mean,
amazing.
this is amazing. Yeah. I love that we got to that part of the conversation, Dennis, because I wouldn't know anything about cats who can do this kind
Sure.
of stuff.
Yeah, me too.
Well, the cats at our show they're show cats.
Right.
So they're not doing tricks or anything. I mean, some of them
That's what-
might, but they're
I think that's
really
what I would
there.
be. I would be a show cat. Like that would
Right.
kind of be it. Like, feed me the good food, get me some salmon,
feel
you know,
my arms and my legs
me
and make
get-
sure my
like,
body's strong.
right? Yeah, like come on, just don't give me a hard time. Just like let me prance around a little bit. Look
Right.
at me, Tommy D. Right? That's
That's
all.
exactly what it is. Yes.
That's pretty much my speed.
Well, I have figured out that if I was a dog, if I were a specific breed of dog, unfortunately, I would probably be a poodle. I'm basing this off of my hair.
Nice.
But
Yeah.
anyway. So I wanted to ask you, like, I'm always interested in, of course, we're business people too.
Sure.
So let's talk about growth or potential growth. I mean, are you interested? Are you like, what's the world domination plan? Are you going to branch off to the West? When's the California show? When's
Well,
Texas?
pre-COVID,
Yeah,
but 2019, we had plans to add shows, but then we were shut down.
right.
So, and then the people were still nervous, even in 2022, when we did our series of shows, they were down about 20-25% because people were afraid to come out.
Yeah.
And vendors were just not signing up. So what happened, we just finished our Allentown show, and it was very strong, both vendors and attendants, and there were tons of families that came because I think people are over this.
I'm glad to hear that.
We'll take our time and plan, what other locations. I mean, I'd love to do a show in Florida in January.
Mm.
I
bet
would
you would.
I would
Just to
love
be
to
there.
do that
Just
too.
to be there, and I could be there for 2 weeks working on the show. But
I would like that too.
yeah,
I'm just saying.
well, we're kind of focusing on our 3 big shows, which
Sure.
is Allentown, Long Island, and Philadelphia. And we have plans to possibly do a show in Nassau County. These were all planned prior to the COVID. So we do have plans, we have locations. We just have to make sure we get the right date. And especially if we want people to bring their pets, summertime would be perfect because we don't have anything going on, but people aren't going to bring their pets indoors during the summertime.
Mm.
So there's only certain quarters of the year that from a business point of view, we can do the shows. And we want to make sure we do everything right.
That's interesting. I really never would have thought of it that way. I don't know. I feel like
Yeah.
if it's hot out, especially a nice reprieve is.
Yeah, but then, it's to be indoors. I mean, Florida is okay doing indoors at a certain times because they like the air conditioning there, but I'm telling you, the problem we have, and then we also have other, quote, competitors. There's an Ohio show, there's a show in New Jersey, there's a show in Virginia. We're competitors, but we don't compete. So we make sure we don't have the same dates.
Right.
So
Okay.
from a business point of view, the struggle by adding shows is not only the location, but the dates and how it fits into the scheme of the pet industry.
So I got a question. So first of all, I love talking about the growth and the expansion. And as you were talking, I'm thinking about Queens, which we could talk about Queens another time because I'd go on for an hour about that. But let me, what I would say is, can you speak from the perspective of the shows that you have already going on? So for instance, the show in March, is there still opportunities for you to get some vendors at the show? And can you talk maybe like 1 or 2 quick anecdotal stories about the success that the vendors have seen over the years? Because, if I had a product like, for instance, our buddy Rob Tucker, who we all know and love, the canine shop, if you don't know about it, it's where real dogs eat raw. So that's
and cats too, and cats too.
And cats too, meow. But look, but that's where but like, a guy, a business like Rob's business, it's like that is, as I would say, and Valerie said, what you always say, how you always say that's on brand. Yes, that is so on brand for Rob to be in that room. But Dennis, I wonder about, like, are there certain businesses, industries that you go, we should really have fill in the blanks, or tell me a story about that, or tell me a story about, somebody that like just really went gangbusters, when they started to
well, it really depends on how someone works their booth. Like Rob really works his booth, so that's why he's back again with 4 booths.
Four booths.
That's right. So
Oh,
some people most people that come to our show come back year after year. Sometimes if someone's not really working the booth or working the public, they'll do okay, but most people do very well at the show. Our weakness, and is the hardest thing to find out, is fish. We don't have any fish. I'm not talking
That's
about
a
eating
tough-
fish, talking about fish
Yeah.
tanks and fish companies.
Yeah,
Really?
Yeah,
That's
they
a-
have a hard time because
it's tough.
I think it's bringing the water. They have to bring in special water, the setup. I mean,
Yeah.
that's something that's my focus after we're done with these 3 shows. And I start calling up different fish companies and trying to get some type of fish display,
Aquatic.
because
You know what the
every
problem
pet
is?
owner
It's
would
they're
want a fish
heavy.
tank.
The tanks are heavy. They're
Yeah.
obviously fragile,
Yeah.
right?
And the weather.
Also the weather and the temperature of the water, as well as the
Exactly.
pH balance. That's a tough.
And just to get like to
Yeah.
set up. So I was at my dad's house yesterday, I think it was
Mhm.
Sunday. Yeah. And he's got like 4 tanks going right now. And it looks like a pet store in the basement. But he's got the koi outside. Val, I don't even know, my father's got the koi pond outside.
I love
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
Yeah. So we grew up with fish, but the setup and breakdown to do a show for 2 days is probably, it doesn't make
That's
sense.
hard.
Well,
Yeah. What if they had like I just coming up with this idea. Did you remember that show Tanked? Did you guys
No,
ever see that
I
show?
love that show.
That was like that reality show where they like trick out. Like we should talk to those guys, Val. Love to,
Yeah.
I don't even think the show's on anymore. I would have still seen it. But I'm wondering if somebody could like roll up with like a tank that's like, I don't know, on the back of a truck, or like that's like a
On
movable
wheels.
tank.
Sure.
Somebody out there, if you're listening, I don't
Yeah.
have time to do this, but you could take the idea and make a tank on the back of like a truck or on a trolley or something like that. And then you can bring it around.
Roll
Val,
it
I
in.
might, maybe I can find the time to do this. 'Cause
Maybe
it'd be
in the 90s in Pennsylvania, we used to have 2 or 3. There was one company that he would set up a nice big tank, and his business was to go to businesses and take care of and maintain their fish tanks.
That's a
So
good
like at Sloan
business.
Kettering, and that was his
Yeah.
business. And
That's
he
a
used
good
to,
business,
he used
actually.
to, yeah, he
Yeah,
used to set
we had
up.
a guy that used to come in when I was at Citibank.
Mhm.
And he came in, I think, once a week, if memory serves.
Yes.
He had tons of account. Can you imagine we were one branch?
Yeah.
Right.
There's a fish tank in every state. I mean, it's a tremendous account.
And that's the
Yeah.
ones that's my goal after these 3 shows, because I know that we're going to be back to, you know what it is? You do a show year after year after year, everybody gets used to the timing of it, that they're going to be there. Oh, the
Yep.
pet show's coming up.
Yep.
And then to be shut down for 2 years, it kind of is like starting from scratch again. So that's my focus, bringing in some more fish tanks.
well,
and
listen,
I'll get there.
yeah, of course you will. I mean, look, if I were the fish tank, person,
Yeah.
I would probably figure out a way to leverage technology to showcase have some screens. Everybody loves staring at fish tanks. You know what I mean?
Yes. Yeah.
But anyway, I also wanted to jump backwards because I love the fact that, I mean, it's very generous to give away space, period, ever, at all, but to give away specifically space and opportunity to rescues, I think that is really wonderful. And I thank you for helping them raise awareness to their causes. So let me just ask you a couple of quick questions. One,
Sure.
Does it matter what kind of rescue it is? Can it be a horse rescue? Can it be a rabbit rescue?
Any rescue. We've
Any
had
rescue.
we've
Okay.
had vets for horses at our shows,
Okay.
who use the horses to calm down veterans with problems. This year we're having the Guide Dog Foundation, and they're going to
Yeah.
bring their puppy walkers.
Love it.
Love it.
So yeah, I mean, it doesn't matter. We've had ferret rescues. We do
Okay.
this year, but this year for some reason the ferrets have there's a couple of the ferrets are having some kind of I wouldn't call it a disease, some kind of infection. So they won't be there this year, but they come every year, the ferret rescues. And then we have rabbit hopping, and she's also very active in adoptions of rabbits.
Okay.
So
Would you accept, I'm just thinking of someone specifically, but would
Sure.
you also accept an animal advocacy 501c3?
Sure.
Great.
In fact,
I'm
our
gonna get you a
rainforest,
couple, yeah.
just so you know, our rainforest reptile shows that we have, it's Michael and Joni. They come from Massachusetts. They are a sanctuary. When the SPCA and different places go and take away some reptiles that people aren't supposed to have,
Mm-hmm.
they actually are the sanctuary where they send them to. And then his whole, it's fun. He makes it fun, but it's really to educate the public about different type of reptiles and animals that people shouldn't have as pets and why they shouldn't have them as pets.
Tommy, this is your big chance to meet the Komodo dragon.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, look, here's the thing about this, Dennis. I mean, I don't know a lot about animals, but I'm learning a lot about animals, but I don't think it's a good idea. And if you're listening, this is more like a PSA, a public service announcement, folks. If you're going to get a reptile, I would say you stay away from the alligators, you stay away from the crocodiles.
Yeah.
And I would even say I would throw the Komodo dragons in there because I've done my research. I've watched the videos, and I don't believe they're a good domestic animal. Just what I'm finding out. Now, a bearded dragon, on the other hand, I mean, they're not the same. And for a long time, Dennis, to be honest with you, I'm kidding. This is not honest at all. But for a long time, Dennis, honestly, I thought they were the same thing. I thought Valerie had a Komodo dragon in her house. That's not, I mean, I'm totally
It's
lying.
the word dragon. They get a bad rap.
Well, that's what
I don't think you should have a dragon at all, period.
Well,
You shouldn't have
well,
a
that's
dragon
what-
in your house. I mean, that's, but again, your little dragon isn't really a
or
dragon.
some of those big snakes. I mean, but that's what Michael's he makes it entertaining, but his whole story is what type of pets you should have and what you certainly shouldn't have and for what reasons. And he's not only fun, and the kids love him. He makes them sit down and he asks them questions, but he really is educating them about what they should own and what they should not own.
Right.
That's so important because people don't know. And I've
No.
told this story on the show before because I used to think it was insane, but like I still think it's insane. There was a guy in the Bronx like 25 years ago that they found with a tiger in the project apartments up in the Bronx somewhere.
Yes,
remember that? Remember that? Like I forget about it. Like, what are you doing? It's insane.
absurd.
So I gotta tell a little story. I ran into a cow the other day out in front of Starbucks out right in Nassau County. Our friend John DeLeonardo of Humane Long Island, which is he is it when it comes to animal advocacy. He was out mentioning because it wasn't protesting. He was making people aware of the fact that there's these pictures of who I called Moo Moo, which was the cow that was with John. And it was someone dressed up as a cow, to be honest with you. I don't want to out who it was, but somebody dressed up as a cow. It was not me. I was dressed up as myself. And we were out just mentioning to people that Starbucks charges more money when you decide that you don't want dairy, when you don't want milk. And I know it because I went in there, and I don't drink Starbucks coffee. No offense to Starbucks. Tommy D runs on Dunkin'. But I will say this. I happened to stop in the Starbucks to grab a coffee, and I didn't ask for the half and half, which I typically would have done because I knew I was meeting my friend John DeLeonardo. So I said, you know what do you have in here that is like, you know, a non-dairy, like a coconut. So I was like, what do you have, like a coconut milk that is like half and half? And they told me oat milk creamer, right? Yesterday, turns out at my dad's house with all the fish, my dad was drinking the same oat milk creamer, and he told me it cost $7 a bottle. Now, the point of the matter is maybe that's why Starbucks is doing the surcharge, but that's not the point of the matter. We're out there just mentioning to people that the idea is if you're a vegan and you're making a different option, Starbucks with all the coffee they're selling shouldn't have to upcharge people or put that surcharge on it, you know. And I tell you this, I didn't know any of this stuff, Dennis and Val and everybody else listening, but I'm learning all this stuff. Why? Because we do three things on this show. We learn, we educate, and we advocate. So as you learn these things and you become more aware, you can go out there and be part of the solution. What say you, Valerie Heffron?
I just love seeing you at a protest because
it was not a protest. We were making people aware.
A demonstration.
If I have to defend myself in a court of law, I must not say protest. I was making, I was educating.
And my sister-in-law that adopts the cats is also a vegan. So she educates us about certain foods, apple
Yeah.
cider vinegar, certain things.
It's making a
Very
difference.
helpful.
It is making a difference. I will tell you
Yes.
right now, for lunch today, I'm kind of doing this little new experiment, which is like, I'm being more mindful of how much you actually need to eat before you stop eating.
Right.
Because like in this, I don't know about you guys, in this household, it's like devour time, right?
Yes.
So today, I just decided, I kind of like invented a little thing in my head, but like I threw in a panko. I did a little olive oil spray on half of an avocado,
There you go.
panko breadcrumbs, threw it in the air fryer, came out, squeezed a little lemon on it, threw a little salt and a little tomato. And I thought this was going to be like an appetizer, because you know when you just get really hungry and you need something to take the edge off? I was full. I couldn't
Good.
believe it. I was like, oh
Yeah.
my God. Like
Yeah.
it is, I don't know. Like
Yeah, but
the
that
point is-
avocado, as you probably know already, Val, because I know you're a food connoisseur, that's that healthy fat. So
Healthy
I think
fat.
it feeds us,
Right.
it could fill us. So like if you let yourself, not you, Valerie, I'm speaking to all of us. If we let ourselves get full before we just keep gavooning more food in our faces,
Right.
right? That's the thing.
That's
Like
the
I feel like
word.
I went through a
Yeah.
bag of chips if I gave myself more than 7 minutes, like I meant not have eaten the whole bag of chips or whatever. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like
Yeah.
that's the thing. Like eat slowly. Would drive some people crazy when they hang out with me. That's crazy. Probably nothing does. But one of the things that might drive some people crazy when they hang out with me is if the three of us were out to dinner right now, I kind of I'm chilling out, man. Like at dinner, not lunch, I don't have time to chill out. But at dinner, we're gonna drag this out, So I eat slow. Half the time I'm talking too much. So I'm like, I guess that's why
Oh, I am not. Everyone.
I always
thinks
have
I'm the
food on my
slowest
plate when
eater.
people are getting their plate taken away. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Is that you too?
Oh, forget it. I'm
Same?
known to be the slowest eater, like in all settings, but I will say this, and this is why it circles back to the family pet shows that Dennis and his family have been doing, because the gentleman that Tommy just mentioned, an organization, Humane Long Island, or an
Right.
animal advocacy group,
Yeah.
and they are just doing amazing things, and they really challenge you. They make you think,
Yeah.
but they do it in the right way. You know what I
That's
mean?
it.
Like they're educating, they're offering encouragement. And so that's one of the people I definitely want to reach out to see if they have the ability to be there.
Yeah.
Because they intrigue you. They don't bash you over the head. They don't try to tell you you're a murderer if you're not a vegan, like whatever. I'm not down with that. And but this is why I'm super grateful to what you're doing, because anytime that you can offer a platform to people and raise awareness to good causes, it's a great thing. And this is very generous. So I want
So
everyone.
we also have the Suffolk County SPCA at our show. We
Right,
give
that's
them the
good.
booth. And the
Good.
reason they're there is they are an education, part of our education program.
Sure.
They also
Yeah.
help us police the area to make
Uh-huh.
sure that, sometimes you'll have a vendor that's not doing the right thing, but they are a big part of our show because they educate people about why they're in existence.
And that also is part of what we do over here when he says advocate, right? We
That's
try
right.
all the time to advocate for improvement in animal
Exactly.
welfare legislation. I will say this, Dennis, I have a favor to ask you,
Sure.
which he's like, oh, but we've been asking as of last week, we put up a post and all that, but we're trying to make a decent push. There's one bill, it's just a no-brainer bill. I mean, some bills are more controversial than others, etc. But this is literally a tax credit for anyone who spays and neuters an animal or animals.
Ooh, I didn't know about
Yes.
that one.
Yes, so
Oh.
it's A00085. And what I would ask of you, if you could be so kind, being that you live in Long Island, New York, is to call your New York State Assembly person and ask them to support that bill.
I have a couple of assembly people that I know personally, so.
Yay! Even better, call them all. I get so excited.
So it's a
And
tax credit if you spay. Oh, that's interesting.
it's
because-
a no-brainer. I
because-
do have a call in to the Assemblywoman who sponsored the bill, which is Linda Rosenthal. And I called her office last week because of what I'm trying to figure out is if it's a federal or state tax credit. I'm guessing it's state because she's a state.
Yeah, it would have
official.
to be state. sure.
It's state, right? Okay,
Yeah.
and I was also trying to find out if there's any limitations, like, so if there's a rescue, obviously a cat rescue is doing hundreds of spay neuters, you know, a
Oh,
year.
sure,
Are
that
they-
would really help them. sure.
I know, I'm
Yes.
really excited. So I'll let you know what they say when they get
Okay.
back.
That's one of the things we do here is get the word out and educate, right? I want to, so Val, we got to make sure on social media, we're going to share the bill and everything like that. We're going to get
Yes.
behind that. We're going to do a call night. What I want to jump in real quick, because I have a question for Dennis and I got a point we need to make for people to understand. So I go
Okay.
out, I'm drinking the coffee again with the oat milk, the whole thing. We're giving out cans of this dairy-free coffee in a can, which was stellar. I drank like 4 of them that like in like
Right.
a half hour, but that's caffeine and that's me. But the thing I want to tell you, that night I'm having dinner with my wife and my 4 children, which doesn't happen all the time, and we were all there together. And what it did, that my experience that afternoon opened up a dialogue about just, you know, what I was doing. And while not everybody kind of was like behind the messaging of what I was doing, it opened up a great dialogue for the 6 of us, which was great for me because I don't need them to agree. I need people to think. And when I say people, I mean especially the small
Yes.
people who live with us, my children.
Yeah.
But I needed them to think and make an argument, and that's great. And I'm okay being on different sides of it because that's what we're doing here. We're learning. We can't
Exactly.
advocate if we don't learn and educate, and that's the biggest thing. So I wanted to point that out because that was a big thing that happened last week. So Dennis, I wanted to ask you. Your wife is Karen, your son is Joe. The 3 of you, you said are partners. Who handles what part of the business? Because I'm curious about that. And I know, you know, sometimes the dynamic in a family
Joe,
business
okay,
can be challenging.
I do most of the sales and
Uh-huh.
the book work. Karen handles the show program and the placement of booths. And the only time we ever argue is when she spends so much time laying out the floor plan. She doesn't want this person next to that person and this, you know, because we have to be careful because we can't have hunting dogs next to birds. You know, so we have
Yeah.
to, you know, so she spends a lot of time on the floor plan and handles the whole show program.
Well, Dennis, I got to interrupt you. Karen, thank you for what you're doing, Karen. Please.
I have to be honest with you.
Karen, thank you.
Yeah, I just want to say, I was unexpected that. I thought you were going to say something like, you know, we don't want like a dog trainer, like 2 booths down from another dog trainer.
Well,
Because then it might
sometimes
feel
that
competitive.
happens too. But
Yeah, but-
you know, and all the time we spend on the floor plan, sometimes we're at the show and we change because we're there first. Joe,
I get it.
yeah, Joe
Floor
handles.
plans are very
Oh, it's very
difficult.
hard.
And
Very
they
difficult.
are.
So-
Tommy knows, I just
Yeah.
had, I mean, I can't even tell you how many times I was editing a seating thing for 50 people.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
Oh,
forget
it's
it.
Tough. I mean, we're spending, you know, we'll spend all year on it. And then Joe handles the operations. So he deals with the decorator because we're not a table show. We do pipe and drape.
Hmm.
And
Sure.
at the show, he handles the move in and breakdown. And then at the show, he runs what we call our information booth.
Mhm.
So we have a good balance.
Yeah.
And we used to have another person, Patty, who we miss now. But you know, after COVID, she moved to Florida and then she got sick. And so we kind of like we're doing the work of 5 people, the 3 of us.
Wow.
And then Joe has his friend that comes to the show and helps with the move in and breakdown. And then at
Yeah.
Suffolk, what we do is at our expense, we hire some college kids to help people move in and move out.
I love that.
Nice.
Just makes it, you know, it just makes it easier and it's worth the money we spend.
Well, I just want to say really quickly before we wrap it up that I am really bummed that I couldn't find a way to get over there for this particular show
Yeah.
on March 4th and 5th. It's just too soon. I was just in New York a couple of weeks ago. And we have just a whole bunch of stuff going on down here,
But
but
we've been doing,
but
we're 20 years on Long Island, so we'll be here 21 years. So next
oh,
year-
I know you will. Actually, Tommy was trying to figure out a way to go so that he could dress up as a dog or something and walk
Nice.
around.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, let me tell you, I just had to clean off one of my daughter's Uggs because my neighbor doesn't clean up the poop in his backyard. And then
Oh,
she had poop on her rugs. So now me dressing up like a dog and walking around with 1,000, I don't know, Val. I don't know if it's gonna work out.
So then
Unless
why don't you dress up as one of the Savitsky cats?
the Savitsky cat.
Ooh, yeah.
All right, Jellicle Cat. Isn't that Jellicle Cat from Cats? You and I talked
That's
about
Yes.
right.
the other night.
Angelical
Jellicle
cat.
Very
Cha-cha-cha-cha.
good.
All right, couple things. I gotta say this. Thank you for what you did, Dennis, about having the young people over at Suffolk do some work with you. I appreciate it because I will tell you this. I just came up with this. I believe the children are our future.
Yeah.
Teach them well and let them lead the way. I always say that. I didn't just make it up.
That's
My friend-
catchy.
My friend Whitney told me that like 20 years ago. Shout out, Whitney. Familypetshows.com. That's the website, familypetshows.com. And then I leave you with this. First, Dennis, thank you for being here. Thanks
Thank
for
you so much.
Thanks for
being a
having
friend.
us.
I
Thank
do
you.
look forward to meeting you in person since we are in the same
Yes.
neighborhoods. And if I can pull it off and get out there on that weekend, the 4th, it's the 3rd, 4th, 5th, 4th, 5th,
No, it's just, Long Island is just 2 days. Our
2
other
days.
shows are 3 days.
4th and 5th, Saturday
Yes.
and Sunday. I think Sunday might be the opportunity. The
Okay,
3rd and the
great.
4th are the difficult ones for me, but we'll talk about it offline. I
Yeah.
leave everybody with this. We do 3 things on the show: learn, educate, and advocate. And I'm 18 minutes into this man's autobiography, at least on the Audible. So I'm listening to it at 1.5 speed. I maybe have to move it up to 1.6 speed. The greatness of a nation and its moral progress can be judged by the way its animals are treated. Make it a great night, everybody.
Yes.
We're
Amen.
pals.
Thank
Take care.
you.
Later.
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much. Have a great show.
Thank you. Thanks
All
for
right.
everything.
Good job, Tommy D.
Thank you,
Good job,
Tommy.
Val.
Bye.
Oh, I